One of the most commonly shared human experiences, apart from using a blanket to look like a king or a queen, is probably a random wave of sadness when you get a sense that life has no meaning at all. And when you get sad for no reason, you might have the urge to isolate and distract yourself through mindless stimulation from social media. If the cycle hits too close to home, you might unconsciously romanticize sadness. And good morning. My name is Truc, and I'm really honored to be here and to share my perspectives on thriving minds. In terms of my topic, we are going to explore the aforementioned sadness, or more specifically, the sadness romanticization. Well, not all of us are huge fans of music, but we all have some favorite songs, right? I know it's 2025 already, but have you checked your 2024 Spotify Wrapped? I think it's pretty interesting to reflect your music evolution and to know which genres capture your attention the most over the year. Well, I did some research, and it turned out that Taylor Swift, The Weeknd, Bad Bunny, Drake, and Billie Eilish were the top 5 most streamed artists globally of 2024. And I also realized something that their work is often inspired by themes like breakups, separation, losing yourself, or more broadly, a sense of sadness. Lyrics like, I'm so depressed, I act like it's my birthday every day, or you wouldn't last an hour in the asylum where they raised me resonate deeply, especially when these coming from the most streamed artists in the world. And these touching and melodic lines are listened by millions of people every day, especially among the younger audiences. So, why has sadness become the most common resource for creativity? Is there a pattern or a deeper reason behind this? Is there a danger in romanticizing sadness in art? We are going to find out in this talk. To understand this phenomenon more clearly, we should examine its definition first. Sadness romanticization is an act of idealizing feelings of sadness, portraying them as beautiful, poetic, even desirable, or necessary for creativity and depth. This trend is really common among youngsters and is significantly influenced by the media. First, why does it happen? One of the most common reason is the role of art and media. Sadness has always been a favorite theme in creative expression. Artists, poets, filmmakers have often drawn from their own pain to produce work that relate deeply with audiences. For some teens being on their journey to explore themselves and easily feel lost, they consider figures on the mass media as their role models. They want to do things like the character on the big screen to feel fit in, to feel relatable, to feel like the main character of their own tragic life. To make an enjoyable movie, filmmakers want attractive characters with interesting plot and memorable lives. Directors and writers will do their best to create relatable characters, and some do it too well to the point that their audiences start to see themselves in the characters, or the most extreme, see themselves as the characters. For example, the movie Girl Interrupted displays a misunderstood state of common mentality seen in teenagers, but they also cast Angelina Jolie for the psychopath in the movie, also known as the most attractive woman on earth in the 2000s. Another hot psychopath is Patrick Bateman in American Psycho, and they also have Kristen Bell play the murderer, and unsurprisingly, his appearance is extremely masculine and attractive. This means that very serious films about mental illness must incorporate unrealistic aesthetics into the project to attract more viewers, and this constant portrayal of idealized sadness can actually blur the lines between acknowledging emotions and glorifying it. Another major factor is the influence of social media. Platforms are often flooded with posts that showcase sadness in an idealized way. Think of Instagram pictures with melancholic captions or TikTok videos with slow and emotional music, for example. These portrayals often use aesthetic filters and carefully created visuals, making sadness look poetic rather than painful. And these type of content can easily go viral, but it also creates a false narrative that sadness is something to dwell in rather than move through. Let's now consider the consequences, the impact of this romanticization, one of the most significant ones is accepting sadness as a permanent state. A TikTok video only lasts for 50 seconds, but the mental struggle it caused can last a lifetime. When sadness is shown as artistic, people may start to see that's a core part of their identity, believing that who they are and their sadness is what makes them special or beautiful, and refuse to let it go. Over time, this mindset can make them feel stuck and preventing people from taking steps toward improving their mental health, such as seeking therapy or opening up to loved ones. Another consequence is another consequence is to is the influence on relationships, and the way sadness is shown in media often skips over the top parts, like the sleepless night, the loss of motivation, the impact on relationships. And when someone experiences these, they can create unrealistic expectations. They feel like the sadness should feel poetic, like how it displayed on the media, but instead it doesn't, so they feel even worse. And this disconnection from reality and idealized portrayals can lead to confusion and frustration. So how do we tackle this issue? Well, for creators, we should encourage honest storytelling. They should have the responsibility to create contents that portray emotion authentically. Instead of focusing solely on the beauty of sadness, they can show the full journey, the struggles, the growth, and the eventual healing. And by presenting sadness as something manageable and temporary, we can inspire hope rather than glorify it. For users, they should select healthy contents, and it's better to unfollow accounts or avoid contents that romanticize sadness, and be mindful of how certain media can affect moods and not to consume them. But is sadness always a bad thing? Let's consider the other side of the argument. So I do believe that it enhances our life experiences. Facing raw emotions, despite it being negative, can make a person more emotionally mature, and it teaches us resilience, empathy, the ability to sit with discomfort, and it also provides us a deeper insight into our minds. Of course, the key is balance, but romanticizing sadness should never stop someone from healing. So, in the end, sadness is a natural part of life that we all experience, and it does deserve a place in art and storytelling. But we need to be careful not to romanticize to the point it becomes a trap. And personally, I hope that your next Spotify grab won't be filled with melodies just to feel something because the media make you to, but the one that you actually enjoy listening. Thank you.